Welcome to Dirty Fanatics United. Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, Dirty Fanatics United is coming at you live on a Friday night, 30 minutes late, but we are here with you to talk Falcon football. As always, I'm your host, Chase, followed by my co-host, Philip, and the man, Cody Keeler, at the bottom of your screen. Hit that like button, leave a subscribe if you're new to the channel, and leave a comment if you're here to talk Falcon football. Cody, Philip, what's been going on, guys?
It's been a great little week. I can't complain. I've seen really good videos on Michael Penix Jr. this week, so I'm pleased, man. So it's always good seeing your rookie quarterback just doing his thing out there, man.
Yes, sir, man. Seeing the videos drop of Michael Penix Jr., definitely going to speak on that tonight, Philip. I'm glad you spoke about that. I'm going to bring you some tight end / receiver type of talk tonight, depth chart roll through. Before we get to that, Cody, my main man, what's going on, brother? How you been, dog?
Man, been doing good. It's been a busy week, I would say, but had a great weekend last weekend. Went to Journey and Def Leppard concert, man. Can't hardly beat that. I would say Journey is easily one of my favorite bands all time. So it was cool to see that live. So wore me out, that's for sure. 99 degree in that Georgia heat and sunny, but totally worth it. But other than that, just working away. But we're here.
Hey, man, I'm glad to hear you two guys have had a great week. It's been a pretty busy week for me as well. As we said, we're going to start up the Tuesday show starting this coming up week. Was not able to do that this week, being that I was out for work all week on a shutdown at the old Sugar Shack. So if you're drinking sweet tea, Coca-Cola, or anything that has sugar in it, you're welcome, because I just slaved for 5 hours or 5 days, 12-hour days, 16-hour days. So shout out to that, man. I'm just kidding around, man. Let's get right to it, talking some Falcon football, man. The breaking news that every Falcon fan that I know around the league is talking about is Kyle Pitts officially, I say official because the coaches finally came out and said it, we will see Kyle Pitts play receiver and tight end this year. Falcon fans, I don't know if you understand what this means, but I think this means we're getting a Kyle Pitts that played in college. If you look back at what Kyle Pitts did in college with the Gators, none of us here watched the Gators like that, but if you watch college football, you knew who Kyle Pitts was coming in to the NFL. I mean, he was the best tight end. He could play any position on the offense.
If you watched that 2020 game against Georgia, you know.
Kyle Pitts was the real deal in that receiver, slot receiver, whether that's receiver 3. But when you can take a tight end and put him out as possible receiver 2, and then you got a Rondale Moore, a Mooney, guys like this that you're bringing to the team. Philip, Cody, what does it mean to see tight end Kyle Pitts possibly play receiver this year?
To me, it just shows that they're trusting in what we got. They're going to add a little bit more to it. This is why we haven't gone to try to get another star receiver. This is why. I mean, we've said it before, a lot of times. I mean, he has, certain things about him that looks like a receiver, the way he's just too quick for a tight end. But, because of that height, that's what he gets labeled as well. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Team's got a rude awakening this year, man. That's all I got to say.
Ready to see what this offense can do in a Zach Robinson-style offense. He loves to throw the ball. You've seen what Matthew Stafford did under that guy, Zach Robinson. No, he was not OC, but he had a lot to do with what happened over in L.A. Raheem Morris, nothing but big praise for Zach Robinson. And for me, to see Zach Robinson come in here and just officially announce before the season starts, you will see Kyle Pitts at the receiver position going out further than 20 yards, 25 yards. You're going to see a guy that's back in his element, a healthy Kyle Pitts. Cody, what does this mean for Falcon fans that are not so big on Kyle Pitts, that this is a make it or break it year for the guy, the unicorn that we call Kyle Pitts? Cody, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, what this means is that this offense just got another weapon deep, and it puts Kyle Pitts back into his element. This hybrid tight end wide receiver that Kyle Pitts is. So not only does what it means for our offense, it means that Kirk just got another weapon. He was already a weapon at that tight end spot, but now that you allow him to be that unicorn, like we like to call him, allow him to get deep and show off the speed and show off the strength, we get to see that now. He's no longer being held back by, oh well, we're keeping him here at tight end, maybe let him go a little deeper in most tight end. But now it's just one more option to this already what's going to be a high powered offense, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with it.
Cody, you speak on being a high powered offense, and what people don't realize is when you have a tight end that can play receiver and be a dominant tight end in the league, defenses are planning for a passing game. But guess who you have in the backfield? A two-handed monster in Bijan and Tyler Algier. They already shown last year that both guys know how to carry the rock. Both guys both can hit. I believe could hit 1K if they both get in there hitting this Zach Robinson team. But we talk about the tight end position, and if we really have a Kyle Pitts that is going to be possible receiver too, I don't say that's going to happen, but I do see Kyle Pitts being thrown out in the slot. Maybe you take him out, you go deep with him, you put on one-on-one coverage with a cornerback. I'm sorry, but a lot of cornerbacks aren't covering Kyle Pitts because you just got to go over the top. That brings me to my next point in the tight end position, because you just signed a guy. It was either this offseason or last year in Charlie Warner, and then you have a John Fitzpatrick, the dog, the Georgia boy, the 6'7" monster that is yet to hit the field because of Arthur Smith. We finally have a Zach Robinson head offensive coordinator, a Raheem Morris coach, somebody that knows how to get to the Super Bowl. And I really think you can get some any kind of play out of John Fitzpatrick or Charlie Warner with a tight end like Kyle Pitts playing receiver. Hey, look, your thoughts on possibly seeing a John Fitzpatrick take a lot more snaps this year if you're pulling Kyle Pitts out as a receiver?
I mean, I feel a little confident about it. We've seen him in preseason games and such. He looks solid. It really, I wouldn't want to say like you don't have to worry too much about tight ends, but in this type of style offense, we've seen it in 16. You don't really base your offense off of the tight end. So pushing Pitts over, it can, it'll leave certain players open like Fitzpatrick. If you got the hands perfect, sometimes, just leave certain key players open. I feel confident from what I've seen out of him. If only he continues to grow, it'd just be even better. Just be a half of what
You've seen, Philip, obviously all three of us here on the panel seen what John Fitzpatrick could do in college. He's a big body. No, he wasn't that. I forget the guy's name. What was his name? Washington, the tall tight end that went to the Steelers. We'll see him week one. RIP to you, sir, because you're getting put in the dirt week one. But John Fitzpatrick can be really nice in the run game. He knows how to catch a ball. I mean, he had Stetson Bennett throwing touchdowns to him. It wasn't 5 to 10 touchdowns, but he was a tight end that was still available. And as you said, Philip, we continue bringing back that 2016 year, that 2016 vibe. You don't base an offense off of that tight end. And that's what it seemed like to me the past 3 to 4 years what Arthur Smith was about. You had Kyle Pitts running slants, drags across the middle, and that was your only target. And you had a Marcus Mariota trying to get the ball to him and a young Desmond Ridder with no quarterback coach. So, Cody, that brings me to you, sir. You're an offensive lineman. You know how the trenches work. John Fitzpatrick, Charlie Warner, possibly one of those two getting a lot more playing time this year with Kyle Pitts being spread out wide or slot, whatever it may be. Your thoughts of John Fitzpatrick, excuse the train in the background. We already scoring touchdowns in the A, baby. But Charlie Warner, John Fitzpatrick, both guys, big body. Charlie Warner, I believe, 6'3" on the board, and John Fitzpatrick standing at 6'7". What does this bring to this offense, and what does it mean to have Kyle Pitts out as receiver?
Yeah, well, it's like you said, we've all watched him at Georgia and saw what he did. Obviously, like he wasn't Washington, but he was a model of consistency, and that's a big thing at that tight end position, especially if you're going to move Kyle Pitts out to the wide receiver spot there for a while. We don't need a guy that's going to have 10, 11, 12 touchdowns there, behind Kyle Pitts. If you can be solid enough to get lost in the, because like you say, he's a big guy, he knows how to catch the ball. He can pick up 5-6 touchdowns in a season. So what that does is it solidifies your tight end position, especially when you've got Kyle Pitts out at a wide receiver position. Somebody that can go get you 7-8 yards. Somebody who can get you 7-8 yard touchdown on the goal line. Something like that. Well, you've got people worried about, okay, well, here's Kyle Pitts. You've got Drake London out here. Hell, you even put Bijan. You can put Bijan out there to spread people out, and you put, Fitzpatrick out there on, and then bam.
Could
so
you
it's just,
imagine,
again,
Cody, could you imagine seeing week 1, you line up against, I'm calling them an opponent now, like a bad rivalry because of Arthur Smith being the head coach or offensive coordinator over there. Could you imagine seeing a Kyle Pitts out wide, a Drake London on the other side out right, a Bijan in the slot, and a Tyler Algier in the backfield? Oh, my God. Cody, continue on, brother.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those things that this is why, my term for this, I mean, not just my term, but everybody's is high powered, man, because you've got so many different weapons that you can put in so many different spots for this offense. Kirk Cousins and this offense are set up to score 30, 35 points a game, man. I mean, it's just, it's doable for them. And it's because of the, weapons. It's Drake. It's Bijan, with catching capabilities. It's Kyle Pitts now out in the wide receiver. You've got Mooney with speed. You've got Moore with speed. You've got who's the other? I mean, you have signed guys that can take the top off of a defense and you can score. And then you have guys that, when you've got guys, quote unquote, playing out of position, like when you get a Kyle Pitts playing wide out instead of playing tight end, you've got a Fitzpatrick who can just be consistent in that tight end position to where you don't drop off. And so it's the possibilities that this team has on the offense side of the ball is getting to the point to where it's almost limitless, to where you just have options.
You speak about hitting that 30 mark in these games. We've watched this team for the past 2 years struggle to make it past 21 points. To officially see your team put 30 points up on the board, man, it really puts the defense out of the game. It gets the fans into the moment. It just brings the whole atmosphere that a Falcon team needs to get this thing back into the postseason. Real quick, before we go too far into this tight end position, I want to give a roll call shout out to everybody in the comment section, man. Shout out to Cassie, a.k.a. my guy Cody's wife down here in the comment section. Shout out to Mama in the comment section. Shout out to my guy Shannon on Facebook. Shout out to you, brother. Hit that like button. Shout out to my guy Wallace Smith, a day one Dirty Fanatic. Shout out to you, sir. My guy Ron Thomas in the building said, rise up, my diehard LaMarcus Boyd in the chat with the DFU. What's up, fellas? Shout out to LaMarcus Boyd and my work, a.k.a. my blood brother. Crew Jones in the chat said, big dog shit. I'm lit. Let's get it, baby. Falcons undefeated all season. Whoever thinks otherwise, pull up on me. Pull up on me. Anthony White in the comments section said, what's going on, fellas? Appreciate everybody here in the live chat, man. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. And if you're new to the channel, head over to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, man. It's free. We got 407. Trying to hit that 500 mark before the season starts. But if we don't, we still going to be rocking with you, baby. Hit that like button. Philip, that brings me to our next subject. We've talked about Kyle Pitts. We talked about the receiver position. But there's one guy that's on this ESPN roster list that's ranking at number 3 as our third receiver here. Well, I would say our third receiver here on the list. You got Drake London at 1. You got Darnell Mooney at 2. And the guy that's been getting a lot of hate this offseason, Rondale Moore at 3. Falcon fans, what do we think about this? Philip, do you like this lineup? Do you think somebody else could sneak up, maybe a Casey Washington, or somebody else on the roster here that you could see in this lineup as your starting receivers come week 1?
I haven't really seen too much on Rondale Moore at the moment, but I have heard things about him on the Twitter world. Apparently he's doing his job, especially at that third slot receiver. I wouldn't really say slot, but that third receiver. Whatever they're putting him, he's getting the job done, doing what he needs to be doing. So to me that's a good thing. If that's what they, if that's what they believe they going into this season, I'll have to trust him too. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But if somebody like Casey Washington comes in, He's been lighting it up too as a rookie. it's all for grabs. It is what it is. If you get your job taken,
And
it
you
is
also,
what it is.
Philip, you talk about getting your job taken. You got a Cadell Hodge still on the list as well.
Yeah, like
I mean, a guy that can really take the top off. You seen him do it with Marcus Mariota. We don't like talking about it, but the guy did it against Cincinnati. I don't know if you guys remember, but we were down and out, and Cadell Hodge just takes it to the house on a 70-yard pass. Really brought the stadium back to life, brought the fans back into the game, and gave us at home watching – just the courage to feel like, okay, I can sit through this game and watch, even though we have a quarterback that likes to throw the ball off his ass cheeks. So we'll get to that on another conversation. But Cody, you heard the lineup. So you got a Darnell Mooney, a Rondale Moore, a Drake London. Right behind Rondale Moore comes in Ray McLeod III, another speedster on this offense. Is this lineup healthy to you? Do you like this lineup? Or could you see maybe one of these younger guys, maybe a Chris Blair or a Casey Washington, somebody like this that nobody's really expecting to come up and take a spot? Or are we rocking with these three receivers here?
Man, I'm going to go ahead and say I kind of like these three receivers. I didn't really see much of Moore in Arizona, but, he kind of had the same problem that we've had the last 3 years. He's had Kyler Murray. I'm not much of a Cardinal watcher, so, I mean, but from everything I've seen, Kyler Murray kind of is
inconsistent.
It's better than Desmond, or not better than Desmond Ritter. I have a feeling Desmond Ritter's coming for that job a little bit, but definitely better than a Marcus Mariota. So I want to see what Moore can do here in Atlanta first. Give him a shot because I've seen the speed, and he's got the speed. If I'm not mistaken, I think Moore's the one that kind of has a little bit of trouble with that separation, but I think he's got the speed to make up for that. So
right.
I think these three, especially, considering, to go kind of back to our old, other topic with Kyle Pitts out there, that really is going to hopefully free him up some because, again, are we double teaming Drake? Are we double teaming Kyle? Or, again, if we do push, Bijan out into a slot, do we double team Bijan, which should leave him in a lot of one-on-one situations.
Right.
So I want to see what the guys got. I like the speed. Again, not seeing much what he did out of Arizona, but I think he's got potential because, like Philip was saying, he's got a lot of hate, but I hear, he's just doing his job. And anytime you can sit there and tell me that, hey, anytime you're getting any kind of press that, hey, you're doing your job and you're doing it well, that it garners some
Especially
kind of mention.
Falcons,
exactly. So, yep.
Philip, Cody, we've talked a lot about this offense, and we're going to go even further into this offensive lineup. Tonight, guys, if you're watching the channel, this is a roster breakdown coming at you live, our first ever roster breakdown tonight on DFU. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and definitely hit the subscribe button, man. You see it right there, DFU_ATL on YouTube, man. If you're watching on Facebook and you haven't subscribed on YouTube, what are you doing? What are you doing? Go to YouTube and hit that subscribe button, man. Philip, Cody, we're talking about the preseason. A lot of Falcon fans don't like talking about the preseason because they say it's just a training camp. But I'm looking at this roster here. I'm looking at this ESPN roster. And right behind Kirk Cousins, guess who's coming in at number 2? The guy that's been inconsistent all training camp, Michael Penix Jr. And then behind him, the vet, Taylor Heineke. Falcon fans, should we see Michael Penix Jr. start the preseason? Philip, Cody, your thoughts?
Be honest with you, I don't see why not. We know what Tyler Heineke can do. You know what I mean? We've seen it over in Washington. Here, no, he wasn't given a good hand with Arthur Smith, but why not? If your second quarterback is Michael Penix Jr., why not see what he can do in preseason, just in case something does happen that gives you a good look and hey, this is what we got. If Kirk accidentally, something, God willing, it don't. But unfortunately, if something happens, you can feel confident and say, hey, this is what we got now. We trust him to go in there if he does good in preseason. So, I don't see why not. You know what I mean?
Cody, your thoughts of seeing Michael Penix Jr. take the first snap week 1 in preseason? What do you think about that, sir?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with Philip. I think it's one of those things Kirk needs to get his playing time in preseason too. I've never been a big believer of, hey, sit out preseason,
Arthur Smith,
manage it, a little bit. I know Arthur Smith's big thing was like, well, no.
That's
but yes, I want to see Michael Penix Jr. take the majority of the snaps in preseason because, to Philip's point, God forbid anything happens to Kirk. We've got him, some kind of practice in live situation of, hey man, welcome to the NFL. This is what it's like at, he's going to be playing against guys who are competing for a job, man. So he's going to get that NFL feel to it. Obviously it's not the same as a regular season game, but it's still that simulated game. And so I would love to see Michael Penix, take the majority of the quarterback snaps this offseason. I know people don't like to talk preseason, but football is football, man. And I don't care if it's practice. I don't care if it's helmet and shorts. Just give me some football, man. I just need some football, and I want to see Michael Penix and see what we have, hopefully, in 2 to 3 years.
I think it would be phenomenal to see Michael Penix Jr. come out preseason and just ball out and shut these haters up, man. To secure that number 1 draft pick spot, to prove the doubters wrong. Michael comes out there and is just slinging the ball. ATL fans are happy as hell. We have a future in Atlanta. Falcon fans really, some Falcon fans will probably be calling for him week 1 just because of the performance he puts out in preseason.
Right.
I think it's good for, like you said, Cody, I think it's great to see Penix come in preseason, take those snaps, get a little bit of the game, catch the speed of the game. I know he's playing against backups here, but he's still in the NFL. It's kind of a welcome to the NFL moment. Officially in the regular season, when you strap up and step on the field, that's your welcome to the NFL moment. But for Michael Penix Jr. to get some playing time, as young as he is, people say he's old. He's 25, man. Come on. He's still young. He's still a young quarterback, still has to, progress to the speed of the game. Falcon fans, if you're watching, man, let me know if you think Penix should play a preseason snap or should we just sit him and just let him rest behind what we have here, because behind Taylor Heineke, you have another quarterback in John Paddock, a guy that Falcon fans and reporters have been raving about. Said this guy really has an arm. He knows how to get the ball in precise spots. Last year, you had a guy in preseason that I can't remember his name to save my life, but he was a really solid quarterback, and you seen the play in preseason, which made his spot on the team.
Woodside?
You talk about, Woodside, Logan Woodside, a baller, dude.
Mm.
You had fans calling for Woodside after Taylor Heineke came out into the game.
we were there.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But one more spot before we dive into our defense, our 3-4 scheme. I want to talk about the fullback spot. You're going into a season without Keith Smith. You no longer have Keith Smith on the roster. You have a Robert Burns, a guy you acquired in the offseason. Do we feel okay with that, Philip? Is that going to affect the run game, no longer having that Keith Smith? You lost to Patrick DeMarco. It took you a little while to have a good fullback. You finally got a Keith Smith. And to be honest with you, Falcon fans, I was rooting for Keith Smith to come back. Because if you went to any Atlanta Falcon game last year, the one guy, even if you were down 14 points, the one guy that was on the sideline, keeping the fans into it, keeping his teammates into it, Keith Smith, a true team player. Philip, Robert Burns, a guy I don't know much about. I'll be honest with you, Falcon fans. Does this affect the run game at all, or are we going to be okay with what we have?
I don't think so. Just in case, you find something don't happen, this is why you have that, that second tight end as well as
Charlie
Fitzpatrick and Charlie Warner as well. Like you got 3 guys there, that's potential. They're big guys,
This guy has never played a snap in NFL. He's coming out of college from UConn. He's 5'11", 222 pounds. He's listed as a running back, but he's on our roster as a fullback.
If he's built like that, he's built like that. That's all I'm gonna say. I want to see more, but as of right now, I'm gonna keep confidence in our boys, man. Like, you know what I mean? It ain't just being, biased or anything, but if he gets the job done, hey, I'm good with it. You know what I mean? I just want to see a little bit more of him before I, say, okay, I'm 100% comfortable. You know what I mean? But
Just comment here from Wallace Smith. No, Penix should play some preseason snaps in all 3 preseason games. I believe it. 100%. And Wallace Smith, with our last question, said, I don't think they're going to have a fullback in this system, which is cool because you have a Zach Robinson.
I don't either.
West Coast.
That's me. I don't.
May see a single back there with Zach, with my guy Bijan or Tyler Algier, whoever it may be. Or maybe you see a double back set with Bijan on the left and Algier on the right. I think Falcon fans would appreciate that. Cody,
I feel like the more tight end aspect is really outdated now, and like the systems and league.
Fullback. Yeah, fullback.
Yeah, I just feel like it's more, really
Extra
ain't
blocker
worried about
album
it.
was good.
Yeah.
Cody, your thoughts? Obviously, we've seen the comment from Wallace Smith here of what Philip had to say. Do you think the fullback spot, not losing to Keith Smith, now you bring in the rookie and Robert Burns, do you think this affects this offensive run game at all?
Not really. I would say now if we had Patrick DeMarco again, yeah, because Patrick DeMarco was special.
Yeah,
He was
dude.
so underrated.
Best
When
fullback.
when he was gone, I was like, well, that really
Dude, the
sucked.
day they did that, Cody, I was so hot because you traded him to the Bills.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could say is go get you one, Patrick. Go get you one because you should have had it here in the A. But continue
Yeah,
on. Brother.
absolutely. Now I'm kind of the believer that I don't know that we're necessarily going to have the fullback position, but I mean, why not Tyler Algier too, man? I mean, he's a bowling ball. I mean, he just is. Now I'm not saying I don't want him playing that position full time, obviously, because we've seen what he does at the running back position, but dude is built
like a Jason
big like
Snelling.
that. He's built just like that. So, I mean, if we do, I'm sure we'll play a little bit of fullback, not full time, but yeah, I definitely want to see what the guy out of UConn can do. Obviously, he's never taken an NFL snap, so I have no idea. I don't know much about him. I obviously don't watch UConn football, so I'm
very
not
well known school though.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't know. So let's see what he does. But man, if we are going to run a fullback situation, I wouldn't mind seeing Tyler Algier doing that.
Yep.
Something real
Kinda
quick
like
right here. To Tyler. Because he could get it done for sure.
You think about the goal line situations, Cody, Philip. You want to have that fullback out on the field. I mean,
Right.
we may not run a fullback system in the West Coast style offense, but when you get in that red zone, that fullback really is effective. I mean, you could talk about Tyler Algier being at the fullback spot. You give a fullback dive up the middle on a 1 yard line. We know Tyler Algier is getting in the end zone. I mean, it's just certain aspects of the game where you're going to see certain players play different positions. Maybe a John Fitzpatrick at the fullback position. Who knows what could happen here? Zach Robinson is a very what's the word I'm looking for? He's a very unique offensive coordinator. He knows how to make plays happen. He knows how to get players on the field where they need to be. Hell, our special guest Mike Johnson has called a touchdown against the Aints playing as a lineman position. Players can fill positions that they're not on the roster spot, and I'm excited to see what happens there, man.
Well, and I think this is kind of where we're lucky that we've got a Zach Robinson and a Coach Raheem Morris, because I don't think that they're going to limit our offense like Coach Smith did. They're not going to, this is, because that was Coach Smith's thing. It was like, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it. There's no deviation. We're not changing. This is what it is. Mm-hmm. I think Coach Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson are going to pull out everything that they can. Again, it comes down to what they've constantly said all offseason. We are going to put players in positions to succeed, whether that be whatever it is. So, I mean, don't be surprised if we do see Tyler Algier at the fullback position on the 1 yard line, because like you said, he's getting in. I mean, you could still put him at, running back and he's getting in, but you put him at the halfback, he's getting in. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, Snelling, Phil, that's a good comparison there for Algier.
Same situation with him and Turner. It's Bijan and Algier, bro.
100%.
Like it's like a Turner and Snelling duo all over again, man. That
real quick, shout out to my guy Cody's mom here in the chat. Shout out to you, ma'am. Appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like button. My guy Wallace Smith said, and I don't think Burns is going to make the roster. And that's very well could happen. You could see a fullback that they have here on the ESPN roster for 2024 not even make the list. But we might as well hit the whole offense, guys. I mean, we're talking offense. We might as well hit the whole offense. Let's talk about the O-line. Right here, you have, obviously, your starting positions. You have Jake Matthew Bergeron, Drew Dolman at the center position, Chris Lindstrom, and then Caleb McGarry. Cody, this question goes directly to you, sir, because you have more experience at this position than anybody in this group chat here. As far as having a battle in training camp at that position that makes you strive to be better at that position, I'm going to step out on a limb here and say the Falcons do not have that this year. You have a Tyler Vrabel behind Jake Matthews. That's a solid lock for Matthews. You have John LeGlue behind Matthew Bergeron. That's a solid check off for Matthew Bergeron. The only position battle that I see here, and obviously Kyle Hinton's not taking Chris Lindstrom's spot. Storm Norton may take McGarry if McGarry doesn't fit in this scheme. But to me, your only battle position here on this O-line is Drew Dahlman and Ryan Nuzil at center. Falcon fans, you've seen Ryan Nuzil last year take a couple of snaps. He was very solid in the games that he had to fill in for Dahlman. We didn't see no snaps in the dirt. We didn't see snaps over Mariota's head, on Ritter's head. Cody, does Drew Dahlman have to fight for this spot? To me, your other 4 offensive linemen have got that spot secured, but I'm looking at the center spot, possibly the most important spot on the offensive line at a position battle. Cody, your thoughts, and then Philip will come to you.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing is I agree with you. I think the center position is probably, I'm not going to say up for grabs. I think Dahlman definitely probably has the edge because he was starting, over, and it, really was only taken out when, he was either hurt or, was tired. But I think that's one of the things. I think Dahlman is going to take that next step because he does seem to be getting better as he goes on, kind of like a Caleb McGarry. Caleb is getting better as he goes on.
Yep.
I think, like I say, I don't really see a battle there, but I definitely see a situation to where if Dahlman is putting, the ball in the dirt or over the head, of Kirk Cousins. Kirk is a professional, and Kirk's not going to tolerate that. You can get away with that. You're not seeing Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder getting in somebody's, backside about that, but Kirk Cousins will. He'll only put up with that for so long. Now, I think Dahlman is going to make that step. He looks like he's getting better. The good news is, on the offensive line, as long as your name isn't being said, that's good news. You don't want your name in the press as an offensive lineman. I can tell you that right now. You don't want your name mentioned because that means you're doing your job. Yep. So, like I said, I think that there may be kind of one of those things where he lights a fire under Dahlman, like, hey, you better get it together, or we've got a guy who can step up, who showed while you were out that he can snap the ball and not put it in the dirt or over somebody's head. So I think that's going to, that's one thing about the offensive line too, is that is probably the tightest unit on a football team is going to be your offensive line, man. That's a brotherhood. So I think Dalton is going to be there. I think he'll be our starter, but again, he's going to have a fire lit under him, with the backup situation because he is solid.
Shout out to the wife in the chat. She said, Dalton, man, says, rise up, dad. Rise up, baby boy. Philip, offensive line, man. Offensive line. We're talking about position battles here at center with Drew Dahlman. My guy, Wallace Smith, brings up a great point here in the comment section. Shout out to Wallace Smith, man. Always active on the live chats. Said Dahlman is going to be the starter. This is also contract season for Dahlman. Philip, we've seen what Caleb McGarry did contract season. He took the league by storm. He got the big contract. He secured his spot. He secured his spot. Is this something we see with Drew Dahlman this year, Phil?
100%. I feel like you do. It's not even just that. At the end of the season last year, he just started getting, progressing, which is a great thing. Started getting the ball up off the, the ground. It was good placement in, whether it was Heineke or Desmond's hands.
Too. Let's not run game blocking. He can
blocking as well. It's just, just kept getting better and better. And when having somebody as solid like at the backup, I wouldn't really what you say, like Cody said, I wouldn't say like a competition, but it's just going to give a little fire up under him, a little chip on his shoulder,
which we all three could agree that's a good thing to have when it comes.
Yeah, it's going to make him want to be like a mentor type of deal with, want to show him how to do things, once he's gone or whatever, hurt, injured or whatever, It's just a certain situation like that. And he also, it's a good point. He's going to want to get paid. So,
very
and
true.
then, it's just playing for people like Kirk as well. It's just, you have no choice whether to.
You want it. You're going to have.
It's either you want to do it or you just,
You're going to lose a spot. Either way, you're going to have to do your job to get paid and play here for the Atlanta Falcons next season. That brings me out of the offensive situation. We ran through the running backs. We knew those were solid. We went through the quarterback, receiver. We went through the O-lineman. Let's talk a little about this 3-4 defense in the new Jimmy Lake scheme here. I'm going to give you a rundown of the positions of who we have starting on this ESPN roster. You guys chime in. Let me know if you think okay, this guy shouldn't be starting. This guy should be starting. Real quick, running through the list, you have Zach Harrison, a guy that we all three mentioned last week. We said he would be a starter coming into year 2, play behind Calais Campbell. You have a David Onyemata at nose tackle. Grady Jarrett is officially back in his regular spot. Then you have Arnold Ebiketie, Caden Ellis, Troy Anderson, Lorenzo Carter, AJ Terrell, DeMarco Helms above Richie Grant, Jesse Bates III, Clark Phillips III, and then you have Mike Hughes over D. Alford. Philip, starting with you from the top, let's talk about our linemen, our D linemen. You got Zach Harrison, David Onyemata, Grady Jarrett, Arnold Ebiketie. Okay, which Arnold Ebiketie is really not listed as a lineman here. He's more of a wing linebacker, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it. So let's talk about Zach Harrison, David Onyemata, Grady Jarrett is your starting 3. Behind them, behind Zach Harrison, you have our boy, no other than Kendavius Street. Love the production we got out of Street last season. Behind David Onyemata, another one that stepped up last year when players got injured. LaKale London, a guy I rooted for all through preseason, made his spot on the roster.
Hey, he started some last year too.
When he's Street went again. And then obviously right behind Grady Jarrett, he's learning. Behind the greatest person you could learn behind Grady Jarrett is our guy, Ruke Ohurohu, the 2nd-round draft pick. Do we agree with the starting 3 offensive linemen? Do you want to see someone else step up and take that spot, or are we solid there, Philip?
I'm confident in what they got right there on paper. It just flows right to me. I don't know. The starting 3 there is what I don't know. They made a big impact. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a word for it. They made a big impact, especially Grady before he went out. I mean, nobody was getting by him. It was just the impact that they gave onto the field last year. That's why they got these spots now. Mm-hmm. That's all that they worked for it. And they're continuing to work for it. That's all it is. They're working, and they ain't going to stop. I'm confident in what we got there.
Your thoughts, D lineman, obviously facing multiple D linemen throughout your football career. Who do you see here on this list that is going to be a game changer this year when it comes to this D line? Are we looking at some of these second stringers and thinking, hey, this guy's really going to make an impact on these substitutions? Cody, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, my thing is as long as you got Grady Jarrett and Onyemata there on the offensive line, to me, you can rotate on that other side as much as you want, because those are your 2 core guys that you're really gonna piggyback off of is Grady and Onyemata. I think Grady is. I mean, you know what? Grady's the easy choice. I really think Grady is gonna, come out and he is, he may have to, be careful with the injury. It may take him a little bit to feel, okay, this is comfortable. But I really think Grady is going to be that guy again. Again, he's playing for Coach Raw, who he had his best year under when he took over for, Coach Smith, not Arthur Smith, but the other Coach Smith, Mike Smith. So my thing is I think Grady's going to be your guy, but don't be surprised to see Roka Roro.
Speak on it.
I was gonna say, I think that kid is gonna be huge, man. He's big, he's fast, he's physical. So I really think that Rook is going to be that guy. I mean, after because you can play him on the other side, with Grady and Onyemata on that side. I really think that he's going to make the difference. That you may play him opposite side of Grady Jarrett, and you have
Grady,
Rook, Onyemata and Grady. It'll be dirty, man. If that's what we run out with. But like I say, as long as you've got a healthy Onyemata and you got a healthy Grady Jarrett on that defensive line, it's going to be problems no matter who that third guy up on our defensive line is.
You're going to see situations, Cody, Phillip, where offenses try to double team Grady. Offenses are going to try to double team Zach Harrison, Onyemata. But guess what, guys? We're running a 3-4. We're going to have linebackers filling the gap coming down the seam. That brings me to my conversation with having Troy Anderson back. You have him above Nate Lamon on the roster list, and I'm not doubting Nate Lamon at all or Troy Anderson, but it's just hard for me to sit here and say you don't start Nate Lamon after the season that Nate Lamon had last year. Obviously, you have a new DC, but you still are kind of floating in that same direction. Nate Lamon was a good coverage guy. He could really bring the run block or the run tackling when it came to tackles, which has been a weak point for this Falcon defense for numerous of years. So, Phillip, that brings me to you, sir. Nate Lamon behind Troy Anderson coming off the injury. Obviously, Troy Anderson's a dog. You're going to see him all over the place. He's more probably of a blitzer blitz packages. You see Troy Anderson come in before you see Nate Landman, but Nate Landman possibly a second stringer. Do you see him battling and taking that spot?
It's gonna be a good battle for sure. You might even see a third linebacker set, package. We don't know.
Well, that's what this is. This is what this is based off of. Here is a 3 linebacker set with Caden Ellis, Troy Anderson, and Lorenzo Carter. Right behind Lorenzo Carter, you have D'Angelo Malone, and then we can't forget about our guy Braylon Trice, the rookie you just drafted, sitting at third string. And then you got J.D. Burntrud, the other one you just drafted, the one Dad's really high on when it comes to blitz packaging. We talked about it last week. I mean, you got so many people here that could really fill roles on this defense, and that's why I think Falcon fans believe that the roster is set. But I think there's a lot of position battles behind the scene that Falcon fans don't realize. Cody, your thoughts on how depth we have here, or how stacked this depth is at the linebacker position with Troy Anderson, Caden Ellis, Lorenzo Carter, D'Angelo Malone, Nate Landman, J.D. Burntrud, Braylon Trice. So many people here. Cody, your thoughts about the depth, brother?
Man, it's a good thing to have, that's for sure. This is a good problem to have. Going, well, how do you leave Landman out? Because, God, I just felt like every time I watched the defense play, if it wasn't Caden Ellis right there, it was Landman right behind him. Or if it wasn't Landman right there, it was Caden Ellis right there. That's a good problem for the Falcons to have, man. I mean, Caden Ellis and Nate Landman were something else. I don't know how you keep Nate Landman off the field. He's going to have to do some serious rotation time, because I want to see him again, because if he plays anywhere near what he did last year alongside Caden Ellis, man, it's just such a good, it's so refreshing to have this problem on the defensive side where you're going, well, not only on our offensive line, it's like, well, Grady and Rook and Amyamata and Street, and and then you turn around and go to your linebacking position, and it's like you've got Anderson, and then you got Ellis, and you've got Landman, and you've got in the list. So the depth problem is a good problem to have. So I would like to see Landman start, just because of the way him and Caden Ellis played together, and I think there's chemistry there. There's obviously something there, because, like I say, if where Caden Ellis was, Landman was not far behind, or if Landman was there, Caden wasn't far behind. I mean, just fly to the ball, both of them always on the ball. You never saw those two away from the ball. So I would like to see Landman, but again, I think that'll be a battle between him and Anderson. So we'll have to wait and see that one out.
Mm-hmm. So Josh Gilman's question here, he says, who's the QB2 or cornerback 2, my bad. From ESPN's list and from what DFU has been saying all offseason, Clark Phillips III will be your cornerback 2 coming into the season. My guy Wallace Smith says, I think the stars on D-line are going to be Grady, Anamata, and Harrison. I could agree with you there, Mr. Wallace. Then you got Josh Gilman said, I think Harrison starts OLB, something you can see there. I want to see more of D'Angelo Malone in rotation. I want to see what he brings. I don't think I have to agree to disagree with you here, Josh. I think for sure Anamata starts at nose tackle, but Street is a very good rotational piece when it comes to nose tackle. And he brings up a good point here. He says, don't forget Dolores on the inside, a guy that's not on this roster list. I don't know why. Maybe ESPN just forgot to put him on the list here, but Brandon Dolores is definitely making the squad, I believe. Wallace said, I think Landman and Ellis start at middle linebacker spot and they rotate Anderson in. I think you see Anderson in those blitz packages. You need a guy that can speed down the middle and take some hits. Troy Anderson's the guy. Josh Gilman said,
same guy that's blocked so many punts, the previous season.
Like Josh says here, Anderson's going to be our special team ace, as he has been 100%. Shout out to Josh. Falcon fans, you are listening to Dirty Fanatics United, man. If you haven't already, head over to YouTube, hit that like button, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button. I've got a new thing for you here on the soundboard. I want to bring that up here for all the Falcon fans that are new to the channel that are watching. Let me bring this up if I can find it. Let's see. Here it is.
Do it now, or I'll hunt you down. Smash like. Do it.
Hit the like. We're We'll hunt you down, baby. Hit the like button, man. You're listening to Dirty Fanatics United, talking Falcon football. Headed to the comment section real quick. Josh Gilman said, I don't see Clark as a boundary corner. Not enough athleticism versus bigger receivers.
You don't need the.
This
they
is
don't
a good
need the
topic
big-
point. Hold up. This is a good topic point right here. Okay, because Clark Phillips III's vertical is pretty
crazy.
significant for his height.
It's crazy.
Philip, if you got your phone on, you bring up his combine stats. Clark Phillips III's vertical is crazy when it comes to how high this kid can get. He's got the speed and athleticism, sir, is what got him into the NFL because the size definitely did not. I think I'm a big fan of Clark Phillips III, so it's hard for me to hate on him. I'm not calling you a hater, Josh, by no means. But I feel like Clark Phillips III, man, is got the athleticism, he's got the speed, and it really brings me back to the Brent Grimes vibes when you had a shorter cornerback in Brent Grimes that made a name for himself here in Atlanta. Philip, just answer my guy Josh here with his comment, and then we'll go over to Cody.
I'm trying to find it.
Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, no, my thing is he's definitely got the athleticism in him. He's got that dog. I mean, Mike Johnson said as much as himself, you know. The only knock that you can really give is that he's 5'9".
Yeah.
Okay, you know, but there's a reason that he's starting and why they're listing him as a 2 behind Jesse Bates is because he does have the athleticism. And even if he is shorter against those taller guys, he's aggressive, man. And again, it's like I said last time that we talked about this is if you can be that guy and you can pester these bigger guys and they're going, well, you're only 5'9", I'm 6'5", but you're constantly beating them up. They don't want to play you. They don't want to run as hard against you because you're popping them. And he's got that dog in him, man. And I'm a big fan of Clark Phillips. I think he's going to be just fine. I think, you know, he's going to be fine. He's shown that he can play the position. There's a reason that he's on our roster. There's a reason he's listed as a 2. He's got that
Clark
dog in
Phillips,
him, man.
If you could single out what Clark Phillips is in one word, I have the perfect soundboard here for you on Clark Phillips.
Badass, badass, badass,
Clark
badass,
Phillips.
badass, badass, badass.
This kid is
Go ahead,
crazy.
Philip. Vertical on Clark Phillips III.
5'8" with a vertical jump of 33 inches.
Whew.
Fucking crazy.
Jeez.
Ran a
This
4.51
guy can
40
get up.
and a 20-yard shuttle of 4.32. That is crazy.
This guy
That
can
is
get up and
crazy.
be physical. Clark Phillips, man, Cody said the perfect word, aggression. You seen it a little bit last year when he came in at the end of the season. He was getting a little bit of flags for being a little too handsy. But like Cody said, if you can get into these big body receivers' minds and route running and really affect how these players play,
I'm
Clark
pretty sure
Phillips
he
III
guarded.
can be a dog. Clark
He
Phillips
guarded
guarded.
Michael Pittman Jr. a couple times at the Colts
Yep.
game we were at, and
Yep.
honestly shut him down.
Josh
I
said,
didn't
I see Clark kind of as a slot cornerback. I could agree with you. He could play that cornerback slot position. But I think you're going to have a guy like DeMarco Helms that fills that position pretty well, or Mike Hughes that can fill that position as well. He says Clark Phillips kind of reminds him of, where'd it go? Brian Poole, back in camp. Brian Poole was a dog for the Falcons there for a little while.
Shout out to
Wallace
BT,
Smith
bro.
said, D. Alford is going to be our slot nickel DB. If you're going off
That's
the
what I
list
see.
here, your nickel DB is Mike Hughes. I have D. Alford above Mike Hughes. Personally, I have him above him. But this list here has Mike Hughes above D. Alford. Philip, Cody, your thoughts of Mike Hughes possibly being your nickel back before D. Alford?
I'm gonna be honest with you. If it's labeled that and something is not right with D. Alford anyway, like it's just something. It's either he's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm not gonna say he's not ready, but like more mature if that's the case. But I've seen some glimpses of Mike Hughes that ain't been great neither. He does have flashy moments, but he has sometimes some questionable placements on where he's at. If that's how it is, I mean, maybe I'm not gonna say I'm worried about it. I'm not. They both because it's not just centered around them on their own defense. That ain't what I'm saying. But like maybe this is battle. Them two are battling out to see who's got gonna take it. I mean, I'm not gonna say one's not mature enough. Because Mike Hughes has been in the league longer than what D. Alford. That's probably what's got him this spot right now. You know, he probably,
Hey, shout out to Glue Man, man. No spite on my guy D. Alford, bro. Me and Phillips got a huge liking for D. Alford. We made it a little, when you have conversation with a player mid-game like D. Alford and they acknowledge you during that game, you're forever a fan. So I'm forever a fan of D. Alford.
We hyped that boy up.
I'm ready to see D. Alford take that next step, a.k.a. the Glue Man on Twitter. Shout out to you, sir. Cody, your thoughts on Mike Hughes on this ESPN roster here coming in before D. Alford at Nickelback?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys on this one. I think D. Alford, I think he's just got to take that next step. I don't know if that means he's already pretty physical as it is. Maybe you could see him get be more like, again, kind of get more in there like a
Ricardo Allen.
Like a Ricardo Allen, yeah. It was I think that's what'll separate them in training camp is if D. Alford can take that next step and just, I guess, fine tune would be a good word for it, is really kind of tune his game in just a little bit more. I think he probably starts over Hughes. I've got nothing against either one of them. I think both of them are great players. I think they both can get the job done. But I think D. Alford's ceiling is going to be higher. Mm-hmm. I think he's got a higher ceiling, and I think if he could take that step, that job is his.
Yes, sir, 100%. Wallace Smith said we can't go off that list because it's not up to date. It may not be like as of yesterday up to date, but it's got every rookie on this list. I wouldn't pull up a roster if it didn't. It's pretty up to date. This is just something we're basing it off of. We're not saying this is your starters. This is just something to run down here on the podcast. But 100%, you don't know who's going to start where. You don't know what happened in training camp. You don't know who's going to get injured before the season starts. So to have this depth chart here, to have this roster is huge because you have a lot of depth when it comes to this team. Josh Gilman said, our pass rush will determine how good our corners are going to be, in my opinion. 100%. You had that issue last year. You had times that we weren't getting pass rush. I could go back to the Saints game in the Benz. Chris Olave was torching my guy. I forget his name, man. I'm having a hard time tonight remembering names. Okudah. Okudah had a great season. He didn't come back to the Falcons. We didn't re-sign him. Kind of had a nagging injury, kind of what's happened his whole career. But hopefully Clark Phillips III takes up that slack and has the speed to stick with these type of corners that you don't necessarily have in A.J. Terrell. A.J.'s very fast, but we can all agree Clark Phillips III is a speedster when it comes to the secondary. Another I want to talk about is my guy. I'm huge on this guy. DeMarco Hellams taking the spot over Richie Grant at the strong safety position here. DeMarco Hellams, guys, our thoughts on that?
There ain't much to say on that. DeMarco Hellams, I love Richie, man. I love him. But Hellams has proved why he's got that spot as of right now. He's came in each and every game. It's just physical. Just beating somebody down, bro. Like, it's just this pass protect, not protection, but, coverage and everything. It's just batted balls. And, it's just always at the ball. Wherever it's at, he's there. And I feel like that's for Richie sometimes, and it wasn't always Richie's fault, but Richie failed to do sometimes was be in the spot he was supposed to be.
Yeah, it's
like he has slowed down in that process of the games as of right now. Don't know if it's just mentality, whatever it is, but Hellams has showed why he's at that spot, and it makes sense. That's just all I'm gonna say. It just makes sense.
100%. Cody, your thoughts to DeMarco Hellams, the leading tackler for the school of the school I hate to even talk about, Alabama, the leading tackler of that defense. Obviously, Nick Saban building a dynasty over in Alabama, and DeMarco Hellams took that role as the top tackler of that whole defense, even leading the Atlanta Falcons inserting games in most tackles in a game. DeMarco Hellams proving his point, as Philip said up in that last comment. Cody, your thoughts of DeMarco Hellams taking the role of Richie Grant, possibly seeing a thing that may happen. Richie may not even make the squad. Cody, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think Hellams is definitely more consistent, and that's the big thing in the NFL is consistency, man. again, to Philip's point, I feel like Richie, would get caught in bad positions, wasn't where he needed to be sometimes. Now, I like Richie Grant too. I think that's, again, like to Philip's point, it's just Helms is where he needs to be, when he needs to be there. And if he's not there, he makes it up with the speed and he's physical. So that to me is the difference. Again, I think that that Richie is in the spot where he needs to take that next step. But I don't even know that if Richie takes that next step that he's better than Helms, because I think Helms has still got, where he could even improve his game. Mm-hmm. But he's got, again, to me, it all boils down to consistency at that spot. Now, again, I like that Helms is there over Richie, because let's just say our pass rush tends to be like our pass rush has been for the last, 25 years. Since whenever, John Abraham and those guys were here, he's a better safety blanket than Richie is. And so I like Helms there. I think he's got again, we'll go back to I think he's got a higher ceiling than Richie does. Don't hate Richie. I just think he's a little less inconsistent than Helms. So definitely good there.
We're going to get a shirt made that says Richie and exclamation points behind it just for you. Shout out to everybody here in the comment section, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. You're listening to Dirty Fanatic United, episode 76, wherever you're catching the podcast. Leave a like, leave a comment, and head over to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, man. We talking Falcon football. Cody, you brought up a name there that just made me think about something, a big name there, and that's John Abraham. Mr. John Abraham, number 55 himself, has been in talks with DFU. Yes, sir. We are talking about the sack master, John Abraham, making an appearance here on the channel, possibly as soon as next Friday. John Abraham could be here on DFU talking Falcon football. That starts at 8 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. Also in talks with Atlanta Falcons UK, all the way from London, across the pond, as my guy Jack likes to say. We are talking Falcon football, man, and we're bringing in some diehard special guests for you guys. John Abraham, a legend when it comes to these Atlanta Falcons, man. I have nothing but the most up respect for John Abraham. Just the type of person John Abraham is, man. I've had the pleasure to do an interview with John before on another podcast, but to have him officially be in talks with me about coming on DFU is huge for us here on the channel. I know Cody, my guy Cody here, is ecstatic for it. He had his number in football after John Abraham. Number 55.
Sir, that's why I wore it.
So it's going to be lit when it comes to this show here. Some more news for y'all. Next week, a special guest appearance. Auntie Pam is coming on the channel to talk some Falcon football, man. Possibly, maybe the next co-host here on the channel. Aunt Pam coming through, talking some Falcon football. We have a list of people that's going to come on in the next week, searching for that next co-host spot. So if Miss Pam plans out, it may be Miss Pam. It may be 10 other guys that have messaged me about joining the podcast, man. So whoever wants to be part of DFU, man, hit the comment section, hit the inbox, hit Philip up, hit Cody up, whoever it may be, man. We got big news, big plans coming for DFU this upcoming season, and I can't be excited enough for what this channel is going to bring you guys the next year. Live content from the bins, live content from the the open practice at the bins. We are there. DFU is in the building. All three linking up for the first time. It's going to be a movie, fellas. Hit that like button, man. Hit the subscribe if you want to follow the journey here with DFU. My guy Josh says, shout out to Auntie Pam, man. Yes, sir. Can't wait to have Miss Pam on the show. Can't wait to have my guy John Abraham on the show, man. It's going to be lit. This next week is going to be a movie, boys. Philip, Cody, we've pretty much ran through the whole roster list other than the special teams. Obviously, Ray McLeod, the speedster on the squad, filling the punt return and the kick return. Obviously,
Avery Williams
is on the list. He is there. But Ray supposedly has that spot right as of now. Falcon fans, it has been an hour show, man. It's been what we thought was going to be a 30-minute show. We've made an hour for you guys, breaking down the roster, talking Falcon football, what we live and love to do. Philip, give me your shout-outs for tonight, brother.
Man, shout out to the man upstairs, man. It's been a rough month, but we made it through, though, man. You feel me? We got there. We almost out of here, bro. But this past week's been a blessing. Shout out to the Braves. I'm gonna be there in the house in Atlanta this Sunday. We're gonna chop on. Shout out to my friend Caleb for inviting me as well, man. Shout out to him and his family. It's gonna be a good little time. Shout out to y'all for being here, man. This is fun to do on Fridays, especially with the season getting closer, man. I can't wait, bro. I just can't wait. Shout out to all the fans that's always there, man. Without y'all, there is no us. Without us, y'all don't get any entertainment, and we love entertaining y'all. That's just that's what we like to do. Is just to entertain y'all. Give us us opinions. Y'all give us our opinions. It is what it is. So shout out to everybody out there watching. Even after the show. Shout out to the team, and as always, baby, rise up.
100%, man. Philip, it is a pleasure to have you on as a co-host, brother. Like I said, probably would have quit doing this thing after episode 3 if you wouldn't have never joined me. So shout out to Philip for coming through. Shout out to my guy Cody for joining us midway through the season, man. It's been a blast talking Falcon football with you guys, man. I greatly appreciate y'all. Cody, your shout out for tonight, brother.
Yeah, no, big shout out to everybody that always watches. It's always great to see the fan interaction. Guys, keep it coming, keep liking, keep sharing it to other Falcon fans. That road to 1,000, we're getting there. Content here is about to be fire, man. Big shout out to you two as always. Coming on Friday. Chase, you especially today. The news about John Abraham, dude, like I say, this is if Matt Ryan ever comes on this show, obviously, but John Abraham is A1 right behind Matt Ryan for me. So I'm so excited. The fan in me is going to have to be suppressed big time. It's going to be difficult, but I'm so excited to have 55 show up, and come talk to us about the Falcons and, about, his time here. So big shout out to John when he does come, come in here. But, guys, again, just love coming in here on Fridays talking Falcon football, getting away from work, getting away from stress of life. Love doing this. Love doing this with y'all. I tell my wife how blessed I really am that y'all, let me know, hey, we want you to come on and come see how you like it and stuff like that, because this is definitely an awesome escape. So, shout out to you two, obviously. Again, shout out to the fans. Keep liking, keep subscribing, because we're about to get lit in here, man. We're about to turn this thing up to 100 with, live at Mercedes-Benz on August 2nd.
Temp at 100 and the humidity at about 85%, baby.
Yes, sir. It's about to get Atlanta hot in here. Hot Atlanta, baby. But always rise up.
Yes, sir. Philip, I see you itching to say something over there, dog. What's up?
Shout out to the Falcons, man. Y'all just gotta help me. Y'all, I entered a giveaway, bro. Give me that signed Matt Ryan jersey, bro. That filled my dream. So somebody get this out there. I need that jersey, bro.
Man, I think I've already retweeted it or whatever you have to do on it, Twitter to do it. But dude, I don't have the luck Philip has. Right behind Philip in that case with the Matt Ryan jersey is AJ Terrell signed gloves, man. So shout out to that right there with the authenticated certification sticker there. I don't have that, Philip, but I have something you don't have, and that is a Matty Ice signed Colts jersey, baby. Matty Ice still in.
That's why I need the throwback, bro. So
yeah,
it's the actual
Philip, you gotta get in on this, because there's my signed Matt Ryan jersey.
Yes, sir, baby. Yes, sir, man. We, as you can tell here, if you're watching this channel, if you're new to the channel, we are diehard Falcon fans when it comes to these Falcons. It don't get no diehard in this, bro. I know there's a lot of more podcasts out there that talk Falcon football, that bring you great content, but DFU, man, my crew here, dog, we rock with the Birds, win or loss. It's been some tough years, and we have not shied away at all about repping these Dirty Birds. I want to give my shout-outs for tonight, man. Once again, shout out to my co-hosts, Philip and Cody. Could not do the show if it wasn't for you guys, because I just do not have the conversation skills to talk to a camera by myself and to fans. So thank you guys for coming in here every Friday night, whether it be last minute like it was today. I'm always accepting, different dates that we can go live. So I greatly appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate the comment section. Everybody that subscribed, man, y'all don't really know what it means to me. If I could send each and every one of you something for subscribing, I definitely would. A giveaway will be coming up soon. We will have a DFU giveaway. We like to do one at least every 3 months here on the channel. So whether that be some autographed merch from a Falcon, or whether that's just Falcon apparel, we'll get something out to you guys. Anything. Shout out to everybody that supports the channel, man. Shout out to the Falcons for what I think is going to be a great season, a great, phenomenal season coming up. We will be back in the postseason. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Falcon fan. I truly believe the Falcons are back on the right path. Kirk Cousins is going to lead us to that Super Bowl, and it's going to happen in the New Orleans Saints Stadium. It's going to be great. As I like to say, it's going to be a movie, baby. It's going to be huge, man. Also, fans may not like me for this, but shout out to Trump for not getting hit by that bullet, baby. Trump 2024, man. We on the rise. Shout out to everybody here in the comment section. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. You're listening to Dirty Fanatics United, baby. We out. Rise up.